Hi you guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my February reset. I'm even wearing pink in honor of Valentine's Day. I've got a hot cup of tea, got a candle going, got some flowers, we got some color in here, and I'm really just excited to hang out with you guys. If you guys are new here, I started filming monthly resets back in like December of 2020 just as a way to kind of reflect on my month. It was actually something that my therapist at the time brought up because I am a very negative I've worked on it a lot, but I'm a very negative self-talk person, and so my therapist actually recommended, you know, take some time every month to reflect on things that went well, things you can improve on, and then from there it kind of became like goal setting, budgeting, and all that kind of stuff. And it's been so cool to see how they've evolved. I think the really cool thing to me is that everyone's monthly resets on YouTube are so different, and I love it because one person could think like, okay, a monthly reset for me is like a deep clean of the house, organizing, you know, all that kind of stuff, or someone else like me could view it just like really as a cozy time of reflection, and that's kind of how I love to do the resets. But I just think it's so cool. I was watching some the other day. I always love finding new creators on YouTube, and I love finding new creators who do monthly resets as well, and I just think it's so cool how we all do them differently, and that's kind of what makes us kind of stand apart on YouTube. And so anyways, just like a very reflective intro. It only takes me about 20-30 minutes, maybe longer because I film them, but I really keep it short and sweet, and I use it as a time of like reflection, goal setting, etc. I love doing it on like a weekend afternoon. Matt's doing his own thing downstairs, the dogs are sleeping, I have a cup of tea and my computer here, and I'm just like sitting in the bedroom literally reflecting on the month. And it's just my favorite way to do it. Just keep it very cozy and casual. I'm in some sweatpants. I'm also like hitting that afternoon slump where I'm like, okay, I need to pull out the camera and film now, because if I don't, I will be horizontal on the couch taking a nap, which I do plan on doing that after I film this video, don't get me wrong, because it is the weekend, we're relaxing, but I really was just in the mood to film this now. So here we are. I'm really excited. I feel like this reset's gonna be a lot more fun because last month it was the start of a year. I didn't really want to reflect on anything from December 2023. So I feel like this month will be a little bit more fun. We have more things to talk about. Start with a reflection on January. January, I'm really nervous. I don't know why I'm so nervous to say this, but January wasn't as bad for me as I thought it was gonna be. So if you guys are new here, I have PTSD, I have anxiety as a result of my PTSD, and then I also have seasonal affective disorder, and I was on antidepressants for a while. I got off of them about pretty much around when Matt and I started dating. And everyone's seasonal affective disorder is really different, right? And caused by different things. For me, it's the cold. I live in Ottawa, Canada, or like close to Ottawa, Canada. And our winters, especially January, get down to about -20, -25 degrees Celsius. Obviously, we have a dog. We have two now, but like Stella's got to go for walks. Not long ones, obviously, because dogs, you know, she loves the cold, but I digress. January is usually my worst mental health month. And so I was kind of going into it, you don't want to like go into it negatively, but I was going into it like realistically. But we've actually had a warm front this winter, which has been pretty good for my mental health, I won't lie. But I don't know. I feel bad saying that I had a decent month because I don't want anyone out there struggling to think like life is all sunshine and rainbows. I think I'm pretty open about my mental health, but I know what it's like to have a bad month. And I feel like with my mental health, I'm never gonna have like an amazing month. There's always gonna be good and bad days, but Matt's building IKEA furniture. Crazy because the US is having a really big cold front, but we're having such a big warm front. Like it's literally a degree Celsius out, which I'll put in Fahrenheit what that is on the screen. But it has been such a warm winter so far, and that has helped my mental health. My heart hurts for climate change and Mother Nature, of course, but I definitely had bad days, don't get me wrong. I feel like the first 2 weeks of the year were just a write-off. I'm considering February 1st like my New Year's. It wasn't awful. It wasn't like amazing, best month ever, but it was kind of somewhere in the middle. I'm happy with the progress that I've made. I'm happy that I achieved some of my goals, but also if you didn't achieve any goals, like that's totally okay. There's no timeline on anything. That's why they're called yearly goals, because you have the whole year to work on them. So January went better than I was expecting, but I know what it's like to not have a great month. So don't think it's all sunshine and rainbows around here, please. I don't know why I'm so nervous to share this, but it wasn't as bad as I thought, which I'm grateful for. And I feel like I went into this month with a lot of resources and therapy and toolkits and things that was ready to use in case I needed them, which I definitely needed some days. But overall, I'm kind of happy with how the month went. I don't know why I feel so guilty saying that, but anyways, but yeah, I'm very open about my mental health in the vlogs. Doesn't mean I didn't have bad days. Like I can have a good month, but still have bad mental health days. Do you know what I mean? We obviously adopted Delilah officially, so I feel like we were really settling into a routine of having two dogs, and planning out home projects, like our bigger scale ones, and budgeting for that. And yeah, I feel like I've really gotten into like a fantasy reading groove this year. I read a lot of physical books this month, which is so unlike me. And yeah, I feel like I really found my groove with long and short form content. Really happy with the content that I'm creating, and I feel like I've kind of like found, I don't love the word niche, but like, you know, I found like where I belong. And I really liked, I was doing kind of like 2 vlogs a week, and then my 3rd video was like a book video, and I kind of liked that. We'll see how many I do in February, but I feel like I just overall, it was a decent month. And yeah, and it's okay to say that. It's okay to say that. So obviously are growing. I can't even believe it, so fast here. I just hit 97K, which is crazy. Like, I feel like in the vlogs twice this month, I talked about hitting 95K and 96K, and now I just hit 97K. So if you're new here, hello, welcome to our little corner of the internet. Welcome to our community. I talk all about getting through life in your 20s, unfiltered, and personal finance, and just being a homebody and an introvert, and thrifting, and just I feel like I, like, you know, not the norm for a creator, influencer, whatever you want to call it. That's a little bit about January. Let's jump into my January goals and kind of reflect on those and kind of see how we did. I'm trying to figure out, I always have to figure out where to move you guys. I'm trying not to let this one hurt, but in my defense, I will say a lot of people on all social media platforms have said to take my time finding a good resource to learn sign language, whether it be from someone who is deaf or like certified accredited in teaching sign language. And I just feel like I don't want to start learning if it's not like an credible source. So I actually didn't learn 5 words this month, but I'm okay with that because I think it's better for me to take my time and find a correct person to teach me, platform, etc. If you guys have any, let me know down below. So I didn't accomplish that goal, which that's okay, because I'd rather, like I said, take my time and find something credible than like rush into it and like just learn off of like a random YouTube video. Challenge myself to get up early to read and spend time with myself. I didn't do this. Shocker, I'm not a morning person. I didn't do this. Make bread for the first time. We did do that. You guys would have seen a few vlogs. Matt and I started making bread, which was really, really fun. So 1 out of 3 personal goals. That's not bad. I'm trying to learn to give myself grace. Bookish goals. I have read for at least 60 hours this month. I did do this. I thought Kindle tracked it, but they don't. So I've just been like kind of tracking it on my phone, honestly. And so really happy with that. Read 2 physical books from my 2024 reading list. I did that. Read 1 Brandon Sanderson book. I did that, which I'm so excited about. And then in health and wellness, I wrote ease back into the gym twice a week. I did do this the later half of January, which I'll count because like I said, the first 2 weeks, right off for me. So I technically feel like I did this. And then research vestibular therapy clinics. I did, because the gym I go to is actually also a physio clinic and they do vestibular therapy. So I got like their information and stuff, which is great. Business, I hit 10K on TikTok. I hit 95K on YouTube, and in my 2024 goals, I wrote film a reading video every month, and I should probably change that to be like bookish, because some months it might be like a bookstore vlog. This month it was the home library video, or I filmed the home library part 2 and then my Kindle video. So I feel like that is considered like a bookish video. I had no finance goals this month. Relationship, try out a new restaurant out of the house. We did not get to that, honestly. That's okay. Watch 2 new movies or find a new TV show to watch. We did do that. This one is one of those categories that I'm okay if I don't hit the goals, because it's just, I'd rather have like a running big list of things to choose from to work on for the house and just pick 1 or 2. It's not like I had to do all of these this month. It was just like, out of these 4 big things, like let's get like 1 or 2 of them done. So I did finish painting the trim on the main floor, and I did finish the hutch makeover. I should have added it in here too. I painted obviously the main bedroom. I didn't start our gallery wall because I'm thrifting that. I feel like it might take me a while, and then I haven't done this yet. I have a few days left in the month, so I might get it done. I need to go just put in the damn order for our countertops. I don't know why I keep putting it off, but I just need to do it. So yeah, those are the January goals. Like I said, it was a good month. I'm gonna give myself grace a little bit. Personal, I wrote make plans with friends at least once. I had a mental breakdown the other day about being lonely because barely any of my friends live here, like besides Michaela. So I want to just make it a priority to like reach out. Hey, want to go grab dinner? Hey, want to grab coffee? I just feel like we all get so busy, and especially being an introvert, like I just don't want to leave the house. It doesn't mean I don't want to see my friends. I just don't want to leave my house. So trying to be better. We made plans in January. It was great. We're gonna do it again in February. Prioritizing my hobbies and staying off my phone in the evenings. That's probably like my biggest weakness. I don't go on my phone like a ton before bed or first thing in the morning. My evenings are something I need to work on. You know, I have coloring books, we can read, we can play video games, maybe crochet or something. So I have enough hobbies. I just need to put the phone down, especially after staring at a computer screen all day, and prioritize the hobbies, like phone down, Kindle up, you know what I mean? And then the last one in personal is reflecting on my current friendships, which might be a little hard to do, but I really want to sit down and just reflect, maybe find some questions online, or like maybe dig through my therapy notes and see if I have any, and just really reflect on the friendships I have in my life, and who, you know, is gonna make the cut. Because 2024 is the year one-sided friendships are out. Okay, and then for health and wellness, I just have one, because to me, I'd rather have one goal that I consistently work on than have a bunch and get overwhelmed and don't work on anything. So I just have start my new workout split, which is a 2 times a week Pilates, 2 times a week lift. I just want to say too, like, I'm not like super beginner to working out. So for me, I can get back into the gym like 3-4 times a week. But obviously if you're just starting, it's okay to start with once or twice a week. But for me, as someone who like used to lift 5 days a week, it is good for me to get back into the gym about 3 to 4 times a week. That's kind of like my sweet spot. Business, I have stay in the rhythm of posting 3 to 4 times a week on short form platforms. So like not every day, that's a bit much. And especially since I do film 3 YouTube videos a week, like approximately 2 to 3 a week, I should say. I think 3 to 4 short form videos a week is, you know, plenty, and it's a good rhythm for me. And I feel like good with where I am right now in terms of balancing both. I also want to work on a brand brainstorm for 2024. I'd say quarter, but like between January and February, I like to sit down and do a big brainstorm of brands I worked with last year that I'd like to continue my relationship with, brands I'd like to reach out and work with. When we travel, I like to work with local hotels. So just doing a bit of brainstorming and sending that off to my management team. That always gets me really, really inspired. So I want to just sit down, especially like maybe short form brand deals, long form brand deals, just sit down and really think. I like to do a lot of research on companies as well. Okay, so this month I did write specifically film a reading vlog, because I do want it to be a reading vlog this month. I'll probably have a bookstore vlog as well, because I just have a bunch of gift cards. I do have to brainstorm a new reading vlog for February, because I was filming a Manacled one, but I decided not to post it because I think Manacled is a very dark book with a lot of trigger warnings, and I'm not new to fan fiction. I read a lot of fan fiction like growing up. I got bullied for it, but like it's fine. I love that it's cool now. I think that Manacled is a really dark fanfic, and for me, I'm not new to fanfic, so like I'm really enjoying reading it, but I don't know if it's like the best beginner fanfic, and I just like don't want anyone to misconstrue. I don't know. I just get worried with me talking about it. Like, it is an amazing work, but it's also very dark, and I don't know if it's like the best beginner fanfic. So anyways, I'm iffy on it. I just haven't decided. I just think that something like Manacled that is so dark and has so many trigger warnings, like I don't want someone to see that and be like, I'm gonna start fan fiction with Manacled. Like, I mean, you can, but it is also very dark. So I'm just not sure how I feel about that. But I do have another reading vlog in mind for February. So I just want to make sure I film that and kind of hold myself accountable. Finance, I talked about this in January, that I wasn't really setting a ton of monthly finance goals because I have yearly goals. Like, I have investment goals and savings goals. But the one goal I do have this month is to work through our freezer or pantry. I feel like we have a lot of meat in there. We have a lot of non-perishables. And so I was thinking of doing like our meal subscription box every second week maybe, and then working through our freezer a little bit. I'm not too sure. We'll have to see, but I'd like to kind of work through the freezer a little bit more because I feel like we have a lot in there. And for house and home, once again, I just like to have a big running list, and I can pick 1 or 2 things off of this list to do. So I have put together our spare room, declutter and organize the entire house. That's gonna be like a month-long process. I'm gonna vlog that, of course. I wrote find a home for our Lego. I really want to display them either on floating shelves or in like a bookcase, I think in the dining room. I feel like every weekend we kind of just find little projects to work on here and there. I'd also like to maybe do the half wall in the hallway. I want to install a closet in the bedroom, like one of those ones you can buy from like Canadian Tire that kind of like is like a custom closet, but it's not like a closet. It's just like a closet system, like a rail system. So we'd like to do that. And then I feel like with furniture and stuff, I like to buy things secondhand or like from IKEA when they come back in stock. So you just like never know. Like, did I anticipate buying a credenza and a new shoe cabinet in January for the house? No, but they came back in stock and I got them. So I like to just see what the thrift store and Facebook Marketplace calls to me. And then that's what I'll, get for furniture that month. I'd love to find a dining table. I'm putting that out there in the universe. I really want like a big long pine harvest table. I have not been able to find one yet that isn't going to cost me an arm and a leg. So maybe this is the month, who knows? Those are my goals for February. I'm really excited to see what February has to hold. I'm just pulling up my story graph here because I wanted to pull up my book stats and make sure I had all the books here before I talk about the books that I read in January. All right, let's do a quick little January book wrap up. I've been loving doing more in-depth book reviews in my vlogs as I'm reading them, and then I'll kind of like wrap them up at the end of the month in case you guys are just, you know, looking for some book reviews quickly. So I'll throw you guys some book stats first. So in January, I read 6 books. I read 3,674 pages. 67% of the books were between 300 and 499 pages. Obviously, 100% of the books I read were fiction. And this is shocking, but if you look at my genre table, 4 of the 6 books were fantasy. Like, giving myself a pat on the back there. And my average rating this month was a 3.63. I feel like as the years go on, I am so much harsher with my book rating. Like, it is so hard for me to give a book 5 stars. Like, so hard. I have not had a 5-star read yet this year, but hopefully February is the month. Let me pull up my wrap up. Okay, first book I read this year was Trust the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson, my first Brandon Sanderson book. I honestly had so much fun reading this. I gave it a 4 star, so honestly we started January off with a banger. And if you guys don't know what this is about, this is a more YA leaning fantasy book. I would probably say it is loosely based on The Princess Bride, and if you're a fan of like Pirates of the Caribbean or like just pirate fantasy books, you would really enjoy this. This is about Tress, and she lives on an island, and instead of the ocean around her being water, it's made of spores. She has a really good friend, his name is Charlie. One day his father takes him on a voyage and she realizes that she needs to go and save him. So it just says, Tress must stow away on a ship and seek the sorceress of the deadly midnight sea. Amid the spore oceans where pirates abound, can Tress leave her simple life behind and make her own place sailing a sea where a single drop of water can mean instant death. And it was honestly so much fun. I think he's just an amazing magical storyteller, and it was a very cute and whimsical novel and not very intimidating at all. Like I said, if you're a beginner fantasy reader like me, you'll have a lot of fun reading it. The world building was really unique in this, which I loved, but also easy to understand. And I really liked the premise of the book, but the only thing is I thought the pacing was inconsistent and the plot kind of dragged on at times, which is why it's not like a 4.5 or a 5-star read. I will say this is the first time I really loved the side characters and like genuinely cared about them. I'm usually not a big, like, I don't really care about side characters, but I loved them in this. I personally didn't really enjoy that it took place on a boat. Like, that to me was boring, but don't let that stop you from reading it. Like I said, if you like pirates or any kind of that fantasy subgenre, you'll really enjoy it. I just personally was like, okay, can we get off the boat now? Can we do something fun? But like, I also understand that like you have to get to the destination via the boat. The story was also a little bit predictable to me, which is why the stakes didn't really feel very high, but the stakes were also not very high to begin with. So once again, it would just be a really great beginner fantasy book. I honestly really liked this, and I'm looking forward to reading his other secret project works this year. Next, we have The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi. This was very interesting. This was a lot of people's like favorite or top book of 2023, so I was really intrigued to read this. I ended up giving it a 3-star, which a 3-star, not a bad rating at all. It is like a gothic magical realism. It kind of gives me House of Hollow vibes in a way. This is one of those books that is best to go in blind, so I really don't even want to tell you guys what this is about, but it basically just says a gothic infused story about a marriage that is unraveled by dark secrets, a friendship cursed to end in tragedy, and the danger of believing in fairy tales. This rating is very personal to me in the sense that I am a plot girl. I am not very interested in prose. Like, don't get me wrong, I like beautiful writing, but not at the expense of the plot, which is what I feel like happened here. There was just no balance between plot and prose in this book. Like, the writing was very lush and beautiful, but I literally at the end of it was like, what even just happened in this book? Like, what happened? I am not really too sure. It had so much potential as like a very atmospheric gothic story to me, kind of like Mexican gothic, like that kind of vibe. I was really bummed because I thought the house was going to play more of a role in the book because it is like a gothic fairy tale and it's in a haunted house, but the book kind of felt like more of a background character, which I personally like when the book is a big part of the plot, which once again, that's just like a personal thing. I'll say that the author, like I said, her prose is beautiful, her vocabulary is beautiful, and she can write a really beautiful fairy tale. I just don't think I was the right person for this book. Not force myself to finish, but like to keep going. Like, my mind was just wandering because it was just very descriptive and lush, and I was just like, give me plot. I want plot. I would say This is not really about the marriage as much as it is like a very toxic friendship, so keep that in mind. I don't think, like, the blurb is a little misleading. It's definitely not really about a troubled marriage. It's more about the friendship. There's not really any romance in this. But if you liked House of Hollows, if you like magical realism, I'd give this a go. Maybe get it from the library. I wouldn't buy it brand new personally, but I do think, you know, you would either like love it or not really like it. Then we have our first thriller of 2024. I read First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston. I gave this 4 stars. I was pleasantly surprised by this. If you keep up with my book reviews, you would know that 2023 was just the year of really crappy thriller releases to me. Like, I feel like I never read a good thriller in 2023. So this genuinely surprised me. I'm just like pulling up my thoughts here. I'll read you like the little synopsis. It says, Evie Porter has everything a nice Southern girl could want: a perfect boyfriend, a house with a white picket fence, and a fancy group of friends. The only catch is Evie Porter doesn't exist. The identity comes first. Once she's given a name and a location by her mysterious boss, Mr. Smith, she learns everything there is to know about the town and the people in it. The last piece of the puzzle is the job. So it's basically about this girl named Evie, and she is sent on a job by her boss to date this guy. And honestly, for an adult debut, this was like stellar, I found. I feel like I'm a really harsh critique when it comes to thrillers. So the pacing was spot on, the characters were great, the plot was unique, and I personally love a morally gray female main character, so I absolutely just devoured this book. I thought the twists were really good. I didn't see a lot of them coming, and if you like a cat and mouse thriller style book, you will really, really love this. The only reason it wasn't a 5-star for me is just that I'm not a fan of con artist thrillers. Like, that's not my favorite like sub genre trope, I guess you could say, with thrillers. But I did have a lot of fun reading it. It just wasn't my favorite thriller for that reason, that I'm just not into the con artist trope. But honestly, an amazing adult debut thriller. I highly recommend. We have The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller, which this is a YA fantasy. I gave this 4 stars. This is apparently like a Slytherin inspired YA fantasy, which I didn't realize till after. It says Alessandra is tired of being overlooked, but she has a plan to gain power, woo the Shadow King, marry him, kill him, and take his kingdom for herself. So I honestly feel like that just tells you exactly what you need to know about this book. I will say that this leans a lot heavier on the romance than the fantasy. There's not a ton of world building in this, which once again would make it great for a beginner fantasy reader like myself. I loved Alessandra as a female main character. I feel like the Once Upon a Broken Heart series just like ruined female main characters for me personally. I was just tired of the little bitches, okay? I need someone strong, independent. I'm over the ditzy girly pops in fantasy books, like just not for me. Alessandra, she is a bad bitch, okay? She is a bad bitch. She wants what she wants. She's gonna go after it. She doesn't care what anyone thinks, you know, self-aware, ambitious, snarky. And this book genuinely made me laugh out loud like once or twice, which I feel like is not something that I do. I don't really laugh a lot in books, so that's saying something. If you like twisted politics, betrayal, court intrigue, and you'll love this. I honestly just had so much fun reading it, and I'm not sure if it's a series, but her second book, I think it's like an interconnected standalone, is coming out this year, which I'm really, really excited about. Yeah, I really had so much fun reading this. All right, time for everyone to roast me because I read Powerless and I gave it 3.5 stars. Now, once again, 3 stars, 3.5 stars isn't bad. I just can't read a damn trial book without comparing it to The Hunger Games. Like, it's just not for me. I will say for a debut, this was stellar. I loved Lauren Roberts' writing, but there was just some things that didn't hit the spot for me. The story follows our main character, Peyton. She's a thief, she's an ordinary, and one day she steals from one of the princes, Kai, and she kind of catches his eye. He doesn't realize she stole from her, and then a few days later, she saves him from like, you know, a pretty bad like situation. I see there's like these trials every year and Kai is in them, and then of course Peyton gets called to be in them as well. And yeah, this book kind of follows the purging trials and their relationship. There's like a little bit of a love triangle, and definitely continue on the series, but I just hope the purging trials aren't like a big part of the series going forward. I don't usually love dual POV, but I really, really loved it in this book. I think it worked really well. Her writing flowed really well for me. The only thing is I just feel like a lot of the book was repetitive, like the banter between the 2 main characters, the trials, and the pacing was really inconsistent. So like some parts of the trials, which were like a week, would take up like 6-7 chapters, and then some would take up like 3 pages, so I felt like the pacing was a little inconsistent. There is world building in this, but it is easy to understand, which I think is really, really nice, once again, as a beginner fantasy reader. And I understand why people love this book. It just wasn't my favorite because I just don't love a trials trope in a fantasy book. And last book I read this month was The Rosewood Hunt by Mackenzie Reed, which was a debut novel from 2023. This was honestly just fun. I gave this 3 stars. It's like a YA mystery book. I just don't think YA mystery is for me. Like, it's a little too boring. But if you like The Goonies, National Treasure, Inheritance Games, you would really love this book. It is about Lily Rosewood, and she wants to take over her family company one day that kind of like rules the town. Her grandma runs it. Her grandma dies mysteriously, and she's sent on a scavenger hunt with a bunch of people she goes to school with and people in her town to find the inheritance. So like I said, if you like the Inheritance Games, I feel like you would really, really enjoy this. It was a really fun, quick read. Like, I feel like this would be a good book to get you out of a reading slump. Once again, I just don't think YA mysteries are for me. They're kind of boring. I will say that there was no plot holes and the book wrapped up really nicely, which I appreciate in a thriller and mystery. And I also just couldn't really relate to the female main character. She was just like a snotty rich girl, and she really annoyed the living shit out of me. So I didn't really like that, which is probably why I also didn't rate it any higher. But anyways, good story. Had a fun time reading it. Just a little too YA for me at the end of the day. So those are all the books that I read in January. Now let's do my February TBR. Then we'll do my monthly favorites. And then I don't really know if I'm going to do my budget because I honestly am kind of tired today. I want to take a nap, you know what I'm saying? Okay, time for my February TBR. Like I said, this is just like a general like list of books I want to read. I don't think I'm going to get to all of them. I'll also share the new releases that I want to read this month as well. Okay, first book on the list is Vampires of El Norte by Isabel Canes. Really excited to read this. It was on a lot of people's top books of 2023 video, along with actually a lot of these books. My February pick for my 2024 reading challenge with the library is a BIPOC author. Let me know down below what your favorite read is. I feel like I have a lot on my shelf, but I'm just undecided on what I want to read. I was thinking of maybe reading Legendborn, but if you guys have a favorite read from a BIPOC author, let me know down below because I would love to hear your suggestions, and I always loved adding to my TBR. The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. The Dead Romantics was one of my favorite books, probably honestly that I've ever read, and I feel like I'm worried this is not going to live up to the hype. I don't know why, so I've been putting off reading it, but I really want to read it this month. I think I'm 100 pages into it already, honestly. This was also on a lot of people's top books of 2023. S.T. Gibson's A Dowry of Blood, and then S.T. Gibson's other novel also comes out this month, An Education in Malice. So really excited to read this. As a glittering tale of obsession, seduction, and power as told through the letters of Dracula's first bride, Constanta. I always mess that up. So I'm in the middle of Clockwork Angel right now, and I am devouring that shit, okay? I understand the hype now. I've been close to tears already, and I'm halfway through it. So I'm hoping to spread out each of the books from the trilogies, like one in January, one in February, one in March. Who knows? I may just end up binging them all in February. I haven't finished Clockwork Angel yet, but my goal is to read Clockwork Prince in February, which is obviously book 2 in the Infernal Devices. And then obviously we'll just see what holds come up at the library, as well as we all know I'm a mood reader, so who knows? I feel like I did a good job in January. I read a lot of books on my TBR, so I'm really proud of myself. I've never read a book for my TBR before, so 3 out of 6 books for my TBR, which considering I've never stuck to a TBR before, I feel like is really, really good. So I love that for me. In terms of February releases, I've pre-ordered a few actually already. So I do know for sure that I'll read The Teacher by Frida McFadden because I love Frida McFadden. I also pre-ordered Midnight on Beacon Street, which is a thriller horror book by Emily Ruth Verona. And then Bride by Ali Hazelwood. And then I don't know if I'll get to it, but I also want to read The Warm Hands of Ghosts by Catherine Arden as well. So those are kind of the books on my TBR for February. Yeah, if you guys are new here, I love talking about the books that I'm reading in my vlogs and taking you guys along on that journey. And then there will be a separate reading vlog this month as well for different books that aren't even on this TBR. So it'll be a little surprise for you guys, but I have a feeling you guys are going to really like it. So that is everything bookish for this month. So let's see, we've done January goals, February goals. I'm not going to do a budget this month, or maybe I will just go through it super quick with you guys. To be honest, I'm just too lazy to screen share. I don't know why, but I think that just feels like a lot of work right now. So, and I only have 10 minutes left on my memory card, so we got a really boogie. All right, current favorites, we've got the basket here. Favorite movie of the month should come as no surprise to anyone. Definitely, I wrote Songbird of Ballad and Snakes, a ballad of Songbird and Snakes, which I loved it so much. I talked about it pretty in depth in a vlog. I can link that. Favorite TV show? Obviously Ted Lasso. We're not soccer people, so I'm like shocked I like it that much, but it's just like a very heartwarming, it's a new comfort show for sure. It gives me office energy. Like, it's just a funny, good, heartwarming show to watch, and we are loving it so much. Favorite snack of the month? I feel like I didn't really try anything new. It's gonna have to go to Bell's Creamy Crisp, which I talk about all the time. It's my favorite protein bar. I'm super picky on protein. I think it tastes like butthole most of the time, and protein bars and protein powder do, but this tastes like a Twix, and it is divine, and it's just so good. So definitely Bell's. Favorite drinky of the month is gonna go to my Sleepy Time tea. I'm usually a big mint tea girl, but I have been loving Sleepy Time tea, which has chamomile, spearmint, and lemongrass in it, and it's just a really fun mix of flavors. I love her so much. I'm sure they make other brands of it, but the Celestial one is like the most affordable one I can get at the grocery store. So in terms of favorite wine from the month, I have my little wine journal here because Matt and I started one for 2024 because I don't have any empty bottles right now because we put the labels on here. But we have a little wine journal where we write down like what we did when we were drinking that wine. So this is the wine we were drinking when we adopted Delilah. Some of them just say, like this one literally just says a random Wednesday. I will say my favorite wine for the month was definitely the Gnarly Head. It's a Cab Sauvignon, so good. So that was definitely our favorite wine, and like the quote on this says a random Wednesday, which I just love. Then favorite book, like if I had to pick one, it's definitely between these two for sure. But which one did I like more? I have to say, in terms of like amount I skimmed and like actually read, I'll have to go with The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller for sure. Can I say Clockwork Angel, even though I'm not done it yet, but I probably will be done it this month? That will for sure be my favorite read. It will definitely be my first 5-star read of the year. But in terms of like comparing these two, it's got to be The Shadows Between Us for sure, without a doubt. Favorite beauty and hair products, I have 2. Nope, I have 3. Carmex lip balm for sure. This is like the GOAT, okay? I have the driest skin ever, driest lips, driest hands, driest skin. This is the best, so good. And then along with dry skin, the Glycemed hand cream is so good. My mom used this growing up. So like, do you ever have that like smell that's like nostalgic to you? Like this just makes me think of my mom, and I really just love this hand cream so much. And then I got this in my FabFitFun box. I've only been using it a few days, but I love it. It's the Living Proof Dry Shampoo. This is so good, you guys. I've never found a dry shampoo that actually works. I sprayed this yesterday and I was like, whoa, but this actually works. So I have to say I'm really liking this so far. Okay, favorite podcast of the month. I don't know if I'm listening to anything new. Well, we're not really friends, I wouldn't say. Like, we follow each other on Instagram, but the Mocktails and Cocktails podcast is so fun. That is Shannon Marie's podcast, who you might know her as Second Star Collective, which is what like her original handle was. She's an Orlando-based creator, and her friend Sierra started a podcast, and it's just like really fun to listen to. I don't listen to a ton of like lifestyle podcasts. Honestly, I just don't really love them. Like, I'd rather listen to like F1 or I like to listen to like Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard or like Smartlist, where they like interview celebrities. But in terms of like a lifestyle podcast, I am loving this so much. And I love a podcast that has a YouTube option because I love to watch them on TV. So I'm definitely loving their podcast so much. In terms of favorite creators, I found some good new ones this month, okay? I never know how to say this last name. Chandler Ainsley. She has like a book channel, but then she also has like a vlog channel now, and she films like hour-long weekly vlogs, and this is amazing. Amazing. We love an hour-long weekly vlog, so I've been loving her content. Also recently found Lauren Louise. I found her on YouTube, but I think she's bigger on like TikTok and Instagram, but I love her content, just like very cozy and I don't know, homebody kind of content. And I didn't realize she lived in Canada as well, which is really awesome. Those are some of my new favorite creators on YouTube that I wanted to share. And then in terms of my budget, I'm way too lazy to screen share, but I'm just gonna put up the little things on the screen. Like, we could just talk about it super quick if that's okay with you guys, because I'm like being super honest. I'm ready for a fat weekend afternoon nap. So like I said, it was a bit of an expensive month, I'm not gonna lie. We also adopted Delilah too, so yeah. Total breakdown for January. 27% of my money went to bills, 22% went to savings, 15% went to investments. Like, that's pretty good though still. And then 35.6 went to expenses. So that's kind of a little bit of a breakdown. Income was a little bit higher. I paid myself a little bit more from the business. My total income was $5,335. Expenses, yeah, I mean, yeah, $2,300. So a little bit more expensive than we anticipated, but that's okay. I mean, if you look at like the kids alone, like the dogs cost us $371 and $300 of that was Delilah's adoption fee, which is obviously like a one-time fee. So, but groceries, like good, meal delivery kit, good. Like nothing was really crazy over. Home was a bit over because some days when I feel sad now, I go and like buy paint, which is like not a bad thing, but like sometimes it's a little impulsive of me, I'm not gonna lie. Health and wellness, I had so much to stock up on this month. I was out of like pretty much all my skincare, protein powder, hair, like all that kind of stuff. So I feel like it was an expensive month of like restocking, which hopefully means that February will be a bit lower and it'll kind of all balance out throughout the year. Bills and subscriptions were normal. And then in terms of savings, I did save a decent amount this month, which was nice. I put $1,500 in savings and sinking fund. So we are getting our bathroom. I'm not sure if we're doing it this month or next month, like February or March, but we are having them come take the chimney off because that's what's causing the leak in the bathroom and just repair that. And we're going to turn that into our laundry room. So I put aside $1,000 for that because it'll be about $2,000 a person to fix that. And Matt and I split our home repairs evenly. Home sinking fund, I put $500. This is how I buy stuff for the house, like furniture and stuff, and I didn't have any money left in there and I decided to buy furniture from IKEA. Replenished that because that was at zero, and then investments, I put what I wanted to put into my investments, which was $500 into my TFSA and $500 into my RSP. So definitely a little bit of a pricier month, but hopefully that means January will be a little bit lower. Lazy girl budget edition with Carter because I did not feel like screen sharing my computer. But I hope you guys enjoyed the chatty little monthly reset. I feel like we're missing something. I guess not. There's like a lot that I kind of do offline after this too, because I feel like it's boring to share. Like I will update my growth trackers on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. So I'll do that like at the actual end of the month because obviously I upload this. Like you guys are seeing this on the 28th or 29th. So obviously that I do like on the 30th or 31st, depending on the month. And then I also clear out my memory cards to get ready for a new month because I designate memory cards for videos, especially since I've been filming like longer videos. So I'll film like maybe like a home project video and then also reading videos. So I like to have different memory cards for those. What else do I do? Oh, I just clear out like my desktop, my camera roll. I take a lot of screenshots, so I try and put those in my like Notion brain dump. I also brain dump for the month ahead too in Notion, make, you know, my life admin list, make my to-do list for the upcoming week if I'm like resetting for the month on a Sunday. Yeah, there's like a few things I do kind of like more offline, and yeah, more of like a techie reset, I would call it. Mainly, yeah, just cleaning up my phone, cleaning up my computer, doing my stats for the month, checking out my calendar for the month as well. But I feel like I was really missing something in this video. Goals, reflection. Let me tell you, man, long COVID, the one thing, I get short of breath so easy. I gotta take some deep breaths. That's why there's also so many pauses in these videos. It's not just me sipping my tea, it's me stopping to take a breath because I get super out of breath. Love it. I feel like it's a combination of my costochondritis and my long COVID, and I also just talk a lot too, so that doesn't really help. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the cozy little reset, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye!